What's up, guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 2007 Hyundai Azera Limited. Up front is a 3.8-liter V6, and down below is a 5-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Azera because it is one of those rare, obscure Hyundais from the 2000s that we don't see on the road anymore, and I've never filmed one here on the channel. Not only are they overlooked, many people don't pay attention to them or even remember these, but Hyundai was sort of in a growing and teething phase in the mid-2000s, and this is one of their cars that they were trying out. Now, the Azera didn't last very long, however, it was sold overseas as something else, and that car is still sold, but it's a stepping stone in Hyundai's past, and I'm excited to share it with you today. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 3.8-liter V6 under the hood. Well, if you're familiar with Hyundai products and the Hyundai Genesis, you'll have heard that name before. Now, the Genesis Sedan would come later and be the larger V6 or even V8 full sedan, but the Azera came before it, and it was sort of in this odd middle space, and you could tell by the engines because this was also offered with a 3.3-liter V6 for the lower trims, but the Limited was the top trim. Like I said, paired to it is an automatic transmission. That's the only way this car ever came, was with an automatic, and that's because Hyundai was trying to push more luxury vehicles, where in the past they had been an economy company. So this was sort of that transitional period, and you'll see that with the transmission. Last but not least, of course, the Azera is front-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive a Hyundai Azera? Well, it's actually really nice, and we'll talk about the features on the interior here in a second, because I really do think that they're fantastic as well. But the driving experience, the ride quality is really nice. It's quiet, it's smooth. The V6 just sort of hums along like a bass guitar. It's just nice. And I didn't expect that, like I keep saying, this was sort of an awkward time for Hyundai, and it's actually really nice. Visibility is good as well. Throttle response isn't really there, but it's also not a big concern. And overall, I think this would rival other luxurious vehicles of the era, like maybe some Lincolns, maybe some mid to lower tier Cadillacs. I think it's right there in terms of quality. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 gauges and a screen. Off to the left is my coolant temperature and tachometer. Off to the right is my speedometer and fuel, and I do have a little information gauge in the center. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have our volume and mute, as well as skip track and mode, and off to the right, we have our cruise control options. I also get this nice wood grain finish on the steering wheel and dashboard, which is a very nice touch for the Limited. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent, gauge dimmer switch, traction control off, and our pedal adjustments. So if you are on the shorter side of the human height scale, you can bring the pedals towards you, or if you're a taller fellow, you can bring them further away. Moving on to the door, we do have 2 memory seat options, latch get in and out, power mirrors, power folding mirrors, lock and unlock, and power windows, of which the front 2 are auto. More wood accents are found on the door, and moving into the center underneath that wood accent, we get a digital clock, 2 climate vents, and our aftermarket radio. Like I said, this is an aftermarket radio, because anything from the 2000s isn't really going to keep up with modern tech. Then we have our climate controls down below. We have dual zone climate, which is absolutely lovely to see for 2007, as well as mode, auto, things like that. Then we get a little cubby, ashtray, and cigarette lighter down below, and our heated seat controls. Again, very nice for 07. I know this is a luxury car. Heated seats have been around since the 80s, but still, it wasn't as common as it is today, and that's nice to see. Then we do have a rear sunshade, although this is one of the very few parts on this Hyundai that has broken over the years, so the rear sunshade doesn't want to work anymore. But then we have the shifter, again, a wood accent on the top of that, little jigsaw shifter, nothing groundbreaking, but very nice to see. Then we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the 07 Azera Limited, and it passes. It passes the big friggin' bottle test. As if this car couldn't get any weirder, it does pass my funky little test. Then we do get a center console and the seats. The seats are heated power and memory. They are very comfortable, and I've been enjoying them my entire time here in the Azera. These definitely hold up as luxury seats from the 2000s, and I'd pit them against any luxury brand that was on the market at the time. So that's really high praise for Hyundai, having only been in the game for less than 20 years. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a backseat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2007 Hyundai Azera Limited, and a couple of things to note. First of all, I do have my own climate vents. That wasn't standard for sedans, still really isn't, so it's nice to see that for sure, especially it's a very muggy day. I don't know if you could tell. It's very muggy, so I have the AC blasting on my right kneecap. I do have cup holders here in the center console that I can put up, more wood accents back here. I have ashtrays in either door, and I have the infinity speakers in the rear doors as well. So very, very cool to see all of that. Overall, this isn't the most luxurious back seat I've ever been in. It's not breaking any records, but it is luxurious. And so they're getting there. They're working on it, and it's cool to see that. We'll talk more about that later on. Let's hop into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the Hyundai Azera, whatever you want to say. And here's the trunk. Very, very large trunk. This is a bigger sedan. This was a pretty fair-sized sedan, and so the trunk absolutely reflects that. Nothing too crazy beyond it, but here it is, the trunk of a Hyundai Azera from 2007. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and this is arguably one of my least favorite parts of this car, just because it's sort of nondescript. It just kind of looks like a big Sonata or Elantra, or pick your Hyundai product, it kind of looks somewhat like that. It's not very distinct, and that could have been part of the downfall of this car. Actually, I'm quite sure it was. But here it is. Here's a walk around of the Azera Hyundai from 2007. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a Hyundai Azera? Well, I think this car is really, really cool. For me, for someone that drives a car every day of the week and makes a video every day of the week, I really enjoy driving cars like this. This is my automotive version of a deep cut. Because everyone knows Hyundai, everyone knows the Elantras. I've driven every Elantra, Sonata, Accent, all of that. But I haven't driven one of these, and so it's always exciting for me to get to do that and to share with you guys a car that isn't common on the road anymore, if it was even common back then, which this car really wasn't. It's also been super fun for me because you get to see that teething stage of Hyundai. You can see them starting to crawl out of their shell. Now, this wasn't the first quote-unquote luxury sedan that they made. They made another one. It has a really hard to pronounce name, GH or HG 350, something 350, and it didn't sell well either, but at least looked pretty distinct. It looked very South Korean, but this was kind of their second stab at it, more refinement. It looked more like regular traffic, and they were just kind of trying stuff out. And I love seeing that. I love seeing first, second, and third drafts of stuff. I like seeing the evolution, and you could see that here. This is a nice car. It is a luxurious car, and so without this vehicle, maybe we wouldn't have the Genesis brand that we see here today, a brand that I am very, very fond of. Maybe we wouldn't see the upper scale Hyundais like the Palisade, because maybe this car would have scared off Hyundai from luxury, or worst of all, they just wouldn't have done luxury at all. So each car that a company produces, they learn from. Whether that be a good lesson or a bad lesson, any lesson is good. And so this was a very valuable lesson to the Hyundai Motor Company. Whether that be good or bad, well, I'll let you be the judge. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Cam for letting me take out his Hyundai Azera. This was so exciting for me. I also filmed his Camaro earlier today, so we're getting a bunch of work done, and that is all thank you to Cam. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.